the strangest feeling, to know what to believe in. Cause every time you touch me, I can't control my body. Oh, baby, you are on my mind, all I think about, and I don't wanna stop.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and friends. Good stuff on the B2G Unity TV Network. That's Butterfly, Evolution, and Taylor Kennedie Media combined for better TV together. Thank you guys for tuning in. And actually for the folks that are listening on the podcast, on the platform at B2GUnityTV.com, we welcome you. Thank you. Everyone from YouTube to all that good stuff, we thank you. Dee and I thank you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's been a time, but we're back and we're starting off the new year fresh. So good thing. We're actually doing resolution tonight. We'll bring Coach Dee in and get this thing started. Hey.
Hey there, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. How was your holiday?
It was nice. It was quiet. Xavier had a blast. He got lots of Pokemon cards and Pokemon plushies and Pokemon clothing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, everything's Pokemon at our house.
Good stuff. Well, we're talking about resolution tonight, but I want to get this out of the way real quick. I lost my niece the day after New Year's, and I'm going to send love and light out to my brother, my eldest brother, Alvin, which is his daughter, Kira Ann Williams. She's 27 over in Houston. The day after New Year's, she lost her life. And Dee and I are working on some things for a topic on that, and we'll be discussing it during the latter part of the show. But I want to send love and light to the number one horseman. It's Alvin Jr., my oldest brother, on my niece and his daughter, Kira Ann Williams. So
my prayers are with Alvin and his family at this time, because I know losing a child is very difficult, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So right. My thoughts are with you guys as you go through this.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much. So we're going to be talking about resolutions. And when I wrote it up, resolution with a question mark, because normally, we start off the new year right before the new year. New year, new me, all that good stuff and all that. I'm doing this and I'm going to that gym. I'm going to move forward in life, and it's a new set, a new mindset. Well, what happened after 4 or 5 days? The question is, are you equipped to go the distance when you place this resolution? I don't believe in placing resolution. Me personally, I don't speak them out loud. Mm-hmm. I can recall when I was actually thinking about this before we was doing the topic, I stopped making resolutions the very first time my lungs collapsed over in Atlanta at a book signing. And once I was purpose-driven and purpose-filled, there was no talking about it. I'm just going to do it. Time is short for us, and especially now in these days, time is short. I don't waste time on talking about it. What I'm going to do, I'll talk after it's done. Right. But that's just my mindset. I'm not, raining on anyone's parade who, does the resolutions or the vision boards. Everyone's, I'm wired a little different. Mm-hmm. And I just like to do things internally, and I just move on it. I speak through my actions. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts, Dee?
For one, I don't do resolutions, and I'll explain why. A resolution is just a statement of what you want to change. Whereas if you write a goal, you can actually set what you want to achieve, when you want to achieve it, and how you're going to achieve it.
Right.
And a goal you'll actually work towards, whereas a resolution, I can say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym more than I went last year. If I didn't go to the gym at all last year, I can go twice and I went more than I did last year. So I've achieved that resolution. So if you set goals versus resolutions, you're more likely to achieve them. I love vision boards because vision boards gives you a visual goal to reach.
But when you say that vision boards are personal, like just the person who's actually doing a vision board.
It's very individual to that specific person because everyone's goals are different. So
exactly.
Like my goal last year was I'm going to get a new car, right?
And you did that.
On December 30th, I went and bought my 2023 Elantra. Normally, I don't buy straight off the dealer floor like that, but they gave me a good deal. And
right. Well, before we dig into these goals, let's say say hi to the folks.
Hey, Martine. I see Martine's coming in. So.
Hey, Martine. You know what? My favorite chart is that she's a trooper. She is a trooper. She is so connected to herself. She said she shot me a text because I normally send out individual text to all the viewers, and she went into this whole spiel by changing her schedule and all that stuff, and she's still here. I really appreciate you, Martine. I really love you, man. I really appreciate all the support over the years. That's good stuff, man. Real good stuff.
Yeah, the topic is resolutions. So what I tell people is if you want to make a resolution, fine, but just be aware that you're setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. Well, do tell on that. But I wrote a quote maybe last week, and I talked about setting goals, right? But my mindset when I went with this condition, right? going into this thing and, coming out of that wheelchair, bedridden, all that good stuff. Set the goal, then get active. Don't talk about it. Set the goal, then get active. What I mean by active, talk later. We'll talk later after I'm out of that wheelchair. But set the goal, then get active. There's no time for talking. You got to get to work.
Right.
But go ahead.
Well, I'll give you an example. Like resolutions can't lead to sustainable behavior change because they're not constructed that way. So in order to change it into an action, it has to become a goal. And actions will bring about change.
Right.
Like the top 5 resolutions are enjoy life more, eat better and exercise more, learn something new, quit smoking, and manage money better. Right? Is there any goals? That sounds like really easy. Now, if you went enjoy life more to spending 1 hour meditating every day, that's a completely different statement.
That's a whole
better, exercise more, commit myself to going to the gym 3 times a week and following X amount of diet plan or eating X amount of vegetables per day.
Right. And a lot of folks don't realize, and these folks that are setting up these resolutions and they're self-motivating, all this. All that's a good thing, right? But, when you think about it, man, when you want to truly make a change, everybody say 60 days, but it's really like 66 days is what you do after the 60 days. You look for that.
21 days to become a habit. 21 days to become a habit.
Exactly. For me personally, it's 66 days. Once I get into the rhythm of it, I don't look for the 60 days. Is what I do after the 60 days.
Right.
Once you do it after the 60 days, you into it. You going in it. You change it to a lifestyle. What I did with this condition, all I did was turn a negative into a positive. And how I did that was a mindset for me. And my mindset was, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a lifestyle. I turned this into a complete lifestyle. That's how I was able to turn it negative into a positive. I didn't look at myself and say, whoa, it's me. I can't believe this happened to me. No, this is what I did. I cannot see myself in that wheelchair. I did not see myself in that bed. I couldn't get out of that bed. I always saw myself getting up. It's a mindset. To me, personally, for me, it's a mindset.
It is a mindset, but on the same time, people do have to experience their emotions and different things. Right? So when you say I couldn't see myself, I wasn't woe in me, there is a moment that you actually have to experience what has happened in order to move past it. So we kind of move over it and kind of like throw that all that information in the background. But that's important information because sometimes people can feel like nobody understands what they're going through because we tend to gloss over that period of time between when something really awful bad happens and when some people start picking themselves up. Because that's
honestly,
that's where the growth is.
I can agree with you on that. And honestly, for me, my motivation was my mother wasn't here anymore. As you know, it happened 6 months before when she passed, and in 6 months this happened to me. My brother 2 months before that. So my motivation was them not being there because those were the two people that would actually be here to assist me. So it was a different motivation for me. So, everybody has a different, mindset and set of makeup and how they handle things or how they approach things. And I had to self-motivate myself at that point. So, but I get what you're saying. I totally get it.
Let me go. I'm going to catch up on the comments.
Okay.
So welcome to Brenda and Slash. Thank you for joining us.
What up, Slash? Who's that, Brendan? That's my nephew?
Brenda Davis.
Oh, hey, Brenda. How you doing?
Martine says, absolutely, I'd rather keep my notebook and scratch things off the list here and there. Happy 2023 from all of them.
Good stuff.
Resolutions, if you must be, can be made at any point in life, not just at the beginning of the year. That's correct.
That's true.
Everybody says hello to each other. Shan says Happy New Year. Hi, Shan.
What up, Shan? That's good stuff. Real good stuff.
And he went from negative to a positive. It's all good, baby, baby.
Absolutely. So my thing is, but like, to give, my advice for folks after coming through this situation, and not just with this situation, with the paralyzation, with the lungs collapse and all that stuff. I triumphed after triumph with the loss of my mother and my brother, triumphed after triumph. But we have to dig deep within. We have to deal with certain things on the inside. So, I mean, some people verbalize things and they have to let it out and speak it and motivate themselves. But find something positive within yourself and get on with it.
Yeah.
It's something personal that I did for myself. I found something positive within myself and I got on with it.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was telling people before, like, you have to look in the mirror and look yourself in the face and tell yourself how amazing you are.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, you do that for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you start walking differently and talking differently because you're like, anything anybody's ever told you about you not being great or you not being amazing, you're like, I am one pretty biatch.
Exactly.
You end up with confidence
and there's a difference. There's a difference in confidence and arrogance and all that good stuff. Trust me, I've been on both sides of the spectrum with this thing. So so there's a difference because you have to add a little bit of humbleness and gratefulness within that. On the second run of the conversation for me, I'm a little different. I'm a little humble, I'm more grateful.
Mm-hmm.
But that confidence is still there. I'm still that guy. But it's balanced out. Yeah. And I have the mindset when I set that resolution for me to start walking again and moving around, I just told myself, I was like, this is not you.
Right.
But you got to be a little humble with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of self-talk. It takes a lot of self-talk and less talking, more action. You got to get active, man. When you're moving around, you have to get active. Set the goal and get active.
Yeah. So
I don't believe it. Go ahead.
Let's talk about how you goal set. So one thing I'd like to do is how many by when, or how much by when.
Do tell. Wait a minute. Go bring that in.
Because so if you're setting a goal, and you're setting a big goal, I always tell people to chop it down into smaller goals. Mm-hmm. Give yourself what your goal will be in 3 months versus what your goal will be this year. Because in 3 months, you can take a look, sit down, and if you need to reevaluate how you're doing it or what your goal is, you may crunch that goal out the first 3 months and then be like, what am I going to do the last 9?
Absolutely.
Right? So take a look, figure out that first 3 months and then move every quarter from there.
Exactly. So you're saying pretty much baby steps are good steps, right?
It's not so much baby steps; they're calculated steps.
I like that.
Because a baby step would be like once a week or once a month, but 3 months is a nice chunk of time. So you can get a nice bit done in 3 months.
So tell the viewers what does calculated steps look like? What does that look like to you?
So a calculated step would be, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. In order to do that 20 pounds, first you have to do, is that a reasonable goal within that 3 month time period?
Right.
So they average about 2 pounds a week. So 3 months would be 12 weeks. That would be considered a reasonable goal. So then you have your goal. It's actionable. How are you going to get to that goal? What are you going to do?
Exactly.
So you say, I'm going to drink so many glasses of water per day. I'm going to eat so many vegetables per day. I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to walk this times a week.
And ladies and gentlemen, we call that a firm decision.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Make a firm decision and commit to yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a lot easier to be accountable to yourself when you have written out accountability stuff. Oh, 1 second. Somebody's calling me.
Uh-oh.
There we go. They usually don't call me during this time, so it might be something important. So I want them just to text me later. So if you have an actionable goal and you have steps to that goal, you'll feel a lot more reasonable within yourself. If you go, I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, you can check that off versus I'm going to work out more.
Right.
I walked this week. That means I worked out more than I did last week.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. It's always good to self-document as well, so you keep up with your progress.
Yeah, but I always tell people, make sure your goal is reasonable and actionable. If it's not reasonable or actionable, it's not going to be successful.
So, question for you, Coach Dee: how would you handle a client that was in my condition, and you see him, he, her, whoever, in a wheelchair and, crippled up, but he or she is saying to you, I'm going to walk again? How would you handle it as a coach?
I would congratulate them on their goal. And I would ask them what is the process to get them to walk again? And how can I support them? Because I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not doing physical therapy or anything, but I would ask them how I can support them in that goal. Do they need positive affirmations for when they're having a rough day? Do they need meditations when their body is sore?
What's so funny?
What?
I'm glad you brought that up. When I was brought home, and I had my nurse at the time going out to this place called Hobby Lobby. I wanted all these affirmations around me, right? And I wanted all these sayings and all these quotes and everything around me. So the moment I couldn't get out of the bed, but I could get up and I could see things. Everything I wanted to see was something positive. So she kept asking me, she was putting all this stuff in. Why are you putting all this stuff on the wall? I was like, that's how I'm going to get out of the bed. Yeah. But, I was so adamant about her putting it on the wall. She was like, I don't want to do it. I said, but I need this. This is what I need. Yeah. And she couldn't back. Why are you doing that? I said, I need to see it. Those words, each word got me out of the bed. Because each moment I woke up, I'm reading it on the walls. Matter of fact, they're still here. All this stuff is still around me. And it helped me get out of the bed, into the wheelchair, onto the walker, cane, not a walking stick. But you have to feed the mind, man. You have to more than feed the mind, you have to feed the soul. For me personally, that's what I had to do. I had to feed my soul because I had to encourage myself to move.
A lot of people use music. I know I use music. If I'm feeling down, I'll play some happy music.
Right.
Or I'll play music will change your mood immediately.
Absolutely.
And if you need some healing and meditation, there's different frequencies that play that will assist
Right.
that you can find on YouTube and everything like that.
That's
Let
right.
me get back to the comments real quick.
Okay.
Martine, 1 second. No, they're just talking to themselves. Shannon said, yes, Mr. Epic, you've walked a very fine line between confidence and arrogance. That's true. Martine, it's fine, and it's fine not to make all of your goals. Scratch whatever you can off the list. You can make a new list and add things from previous lists. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And Shannon said, I agree with you, Martine. There are days you may fall short of actions, and you take towards your goal, but you reset each day. Yeah.
But
so
you have to go ahead.
Yeah, what happens is a lot of people, they'll get off track that one day, and then they'll throw everything to the ground. Like, I can't do this because, look, I keep failing. But a lot of people don't realize is, like there's a business saying, you get 99 no's before you get a yes.
Absolutely.
So,
Honestly, man, you have to be persistent and in your movement and your goals. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, there were days that I did not have the encouragement, the motivation to get better. I had to do a lot of self-talking to myself because I stayed in my head a ton of times. Both were positive and negative. And you have to do a lot of self-motivation and self-talk to yourself because, man, the situation I'm in, I mean, it was the only thing that actually encouraged me and inspired me to do better and get better. I didn't want that feeling again of I couldn't control my body when I had to bleed on the brain, and it wasn't a hurting feeling when I felt ill. I was out of control. I didn't have control of my limbs.
Right.
And I never wanted to feel that way again. That's why when I went into the strict dieting and what I had to do, I always thought about that feeling that I did not want again.
Yeah.
That feeling that I was trying to get away from.
Right.
I never wanted to feel that way. Never wanted to feel that way again. So that was my motivation for running away from that type of feeling. Wasn't so much the pain, it was the feeling of not being in control.
Yeah. Well, some people like to say that failure is not an option. Failure is always an option. What's not an option is to try again.
Ooh.
When I tell Xavier, if you fail, that's fine. That means you're learning something new. And every time you learn something new, so you learn 99 ways not to do something until you figure out that one way to do it. And like, you know, it happens in business. It happens all over the world that we're not perfect. We're human beings.
Right.
In order to create, we have to make failures. You know, we don't invent it overnight and then it works. It doesn't work that way. We have to create and try again. And then finally you have that eureka moment where you get it.
Exactly. So, you know, I don't want people to think that, again, I'm always preaching this. We're not sitting on a high panel of judges here. Mm-hmm. I still struggle. But, you know, I hit that gym and I get those treatments and all that stuff. And in the middle of this, and I spoke on Kira in the opening segment here, I was actually leaving the gym from getting my treatment when this all took place with my niece.
Yeah. That
was a blow to me. It took me a minute and it took you talking to me. I mean, that's some heavy stuff, man. And I did not want to go back to the gym because I'm like, I don't want to leave the gym or go to the gym and get another call. And, you know, one of my brothers, and, you know, I go to this thing with this whole death thing. And I mean, it's been a task, man, to even continue on my regimen after getting that news. So I had to rework the brain. I had to do my brain yoga and work on my yoga for my brain and try to, you know, retrain myself to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, exactly.
I was headed to that sunken place.
Oh yeah, and sometimes when you're grieving, you have to go into that sunken place for a little bit, but you need to make sure that you or somebody else is able to pull you back out. Because as I always tell you, you have to experience what's going on. You can't bottle it up, you can't hide it, you can't gloss over it, because you can't move through it until you do that.
Yeah, you have to go to it. You know, I was reading actually I was reading something. You ever hear that thing about the bull and the cows when the storm is coming?
Noah.
Here it is. A cow is totally different from the bull when a storm is coming, right? The cow will run. They'll run. And they sit in it. They'll sit in it, and they're running with the storm. They're sitting in it, running with it. But the bull himself, he's running toward it. As soon as they see the storm coming, the bull is running directly toward the storm, directly in it. And he's at that first initial blow, you don't get a lot of weather on him, but when you get to the other side, he's good. And he's just going on about his business. But the cow sits in it.
The cows usually form a circle, so their backs are in
exactly.
To perform a break. But
But it was so profound. What's so profound with that when I read that, it's like when we go through things or when we're setting goals or whatever, we have to run straight for it. We can't. If we got to make that critical decision to start.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about it. Just like with that bull, he makes a critical decision running directly into that storm. I'm getting ready to get in this, and we're gonna get through it. And that's how you should attack your goals.
Yeah, you probably go to the barn too, but cattle aren't that smart. Just from going to my friend's farm, I know they're not that bright.
That's true. That's true. That is so true. And with the cow, they'll sit in that storm all that time. As long as that storm sits, they don't think to run. They don't think to go. Keep going.
Yeah, but
they just stop and sit in it.
Yeah, but the storms, when it comes to animal storms, don't affect them. We're in the universe. We are probably a very weak species.
I totally agree. We
can't stand out in a storm because it will kill us. Cows, even some breeds of dogs. My neighbor has huskies, and every night you hear him trying to negotiate with them to come inside because it's cold. And they're like, "Man, I'm good. It's good out here for me." And the rest of us laugh because he gets frustrated. I'm like, "Sir, you're fighting with a dog who's built for the winter."
Exactly.
So
Look like we got a couple today.
Yeah.
Look, we got a few there.
Let me pick up the comments where I left off. Shan said, self-talk is essential. The affirmation as well. What you tell yourself is what keeps you motivated and feeds your subconscious and eventually gets you into acting. That's correct.
That's right.
So fall forward. Martine says you have to speak it into the universe. Speak it as if it's already happening.
Exactly.
John Maxwell wrote an excellent book called Failing Forward. It speaks to not seeing failure as a failure, but as a stepping towards success. Yeah, and that's what I tell my son. He's very bright, so he very rarely gets bad grades.
Right.
So he got a bad grade because he has dysgraphia. So there's some writing issues because he wasn't reading the instructions. And I said, "You get A's on everything else. Why are you worried about a B?" And I'm like, "The teacher said you could redo it." And he's like, "No, I don't need to redo it because now I already know the answers. But I do know that if I try again, I can try a different paper and I'll do better because I've learned what I made a mistake on." And I'm like,
exactly.
If 9-year-olds can grasp that concept of a mistake is just a mistake and you can learn from it, then adults should have no problem with it.
Exactly. But I think in today's climate, I think the issue with with adults setting their goals and sticking to them, it's the more of a show me type situation, and people get so caught up in what people think.
Oh yeah.
And I want to prove this. I want to prove this to whomever, whatever. Yeah. I think this is where we get stuck. But when you focus and you set your mind, man, you set your mind on the goal, tunnel vision, and you go for it. Don't worry about making an announcement. Speak later, talk less. But in today's climate, people they're into that whole show me thing now.
Mm-hmm. I'm notorious for making moves in silent. Like one of my friends came across the podcast and she's like, "T," I'm like, "Yeah, you have a podcast you haven't told any of us about?" I'm like, "Listen, I'm notorious for it. You should know that. If I'm doing something, nobody's gonna know about it before it reaches a certain point, and then everybody will know."
Absolutely.
And I tell people, a lot of people get caught up in what they see on social media, like ex influencer or TikToker. I tell people everybody has 24 hours a day, but don't look at the 24 hours that somebody who's making 20 million has versus you have.
Exactly.
Because
You know,
it's a lot easier to stay in shape when you have a personal trainer coming to the house, personal chef cooking your meals, a nanny watching your kids, and somebody cleaning your clothes and house. That's a whole different 24 hours.
And to be honest with you, for me, all my W's happen in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
All of my W's is taking place in the dark. No one actually see when I'm winning at all. Mm-hmm. So all of my W's happen in the dark. So I don't, and the videos that I record, and I'm actually doing that for a documentary. So, but I do that for encouraging others for that. It's not I'm not looking for a cheering section or anything like that. Yeah. I'm doing that for the next person who's in my shoes to get a leg up.
Well, they say that your story could be somebody's survival handbook.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we got
a couple more comments there.
They just moved up. No, it's Martine and Shannon just agreeing on it. Martine says she prefers to stay silent as well.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. Sometimes I think when I see somebody who's doing a lot of boasting about everything, I wonder why you're doing so much boasting. If everything's so great, why you have to tell everybody?
Well, honestly, I find that to prove it to, like, when I was out in LA and all that stuff, and I used to be very braggadocious and all that stuff. I was truly trying to prove that to myself that I was that great.
Imposter syndrome.
That's right. Exactly. I was truly trying to prove it to myself, and I think that's what we fail, man. When we constantly try to prove to ourselves by the approval of others, we fail when we do that. I failed tremendously, even though it was a very lucrative career and we did some good things with that career, but I really failed at that because that whole look at me thing don't work for me.
Yeah. I've never been much of a follower, so the whole it's never worked out. Slasher says, from now on, all you need is one resolution. The resolution is scientifically proven to make you a better person and help you achieve your goals, and that resolution to make lists of your goals.
That's true. I could agree with that.
I can go with that. That's an actual resolution.
I can go with that. Good stuff. Good stuff.
It's interesting because you see so many people on January 1st. The gyms are filled. And I'm like, no, you could have went December 1st.
Let me tell you something. At my gym, right? That place was so full the day after. I'm like, damn, where all these people come from? I've been coming here 3 years straight.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are all these new people coming from? So we, the regulars, we're getting a kick out of it. I mean, they had some of them in the pool and all. I mean, it was just in there. It was like a summer party. I'm like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
After that, there's a wrap. You rarely see them, you don't see them and all that stuff. But, hey, man, each individual has to attack their goals differently. We all make up differently. We're all different from all the way down to the particles of hair on our head. Well, with me, I don't have any hair, but down to the particles of hair on our head, we're different, man. So we just got to attack things totally different and stay focused. I say just remain focused. Again, set the goal, then take action. Get active.
And remember, you don't have to go to a gym if you need to work out. You can work out at home. There's lots of videos on Firefox and Prime TV and YouTube and Zoom. You want Zumba, you want dance, you want whatever you want. It's there for you.
Absolutely.
Write down what you need to do to achieve each one in as much detail as you can. What, when, where, and when, and do that every day as often as you can. Yep. And Martine says the gym will be empty next week. Yep.
It's empty now, Martine. It's empty now.
The science behind this is called implementation intention and behind books. Yep. It is.
Exactly.
You can't implement if you don't have what you're going to implement. And
That's
I
right.
hope that everybody reaches their goals for this year. Do it in little bits. Do 3 months, what your goal is for the first 3 months, then go from
Totally
there.
agree.
So
So
I'm
again,
not.
and it starts with, and I'll keep saying this, and it starts with the firm decision,
Yeah.
discipline, then consistency.
Hmm.
A firm decision, discipline, then consistency. Discipline is going to feed the consistency.
Hmm.
So the more you discipline, the consistency going to be continue. It's going to be a continuation every single day. Then it turns into a lifestyle.
Oh, Alvin joined in. Thank you so much for
What
joining us,
up, Al?
Alvin.
What up, Al? What up, Al?
Yeah, it's goals. Goals, especially at the beginning of the year, people put so much pressure on themselves. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you want to wait, it's perfectly reasonable to wait until the middle of January or the beginning
Yeah.
of February. Like you don't have to jump on the bandwagon. Oh, the 1st of January, I'm going to do this, and this. You know, if that puts too much pressure on you, wait a week, wait 2 weeks, then figure
Right.
out what your goals are and go from there. You don't have to tell anybody.
At all.
If somebody asks you, go, I didn't make any resolutions, which is true because
Exactly.
you haven't. You've made goals, and people will be like, oh, okay.
You know, in this road called life, man, your thought just struck a thought with me when you said, don't tell anyone. You know what I've learned over the years on this road called life? The most rewarding things in my life have happened in silence.
Hmm.
When I say silence, complete silence, and I was alone when I was getting the W, that was the most beautiful feeling in the world. I didn't have to share it with anyone. You know, I shared with my brothers or my kids and stuff like that. But I didn't have to hold a trophy up for others to see
Right.
that I actually won, that I reached my goal. That is the most rewarding thing to me personally.
And
Winning in
I
the dark.
It is. I do it because you don't have haters if you're doing it without telling them. There's a lot of people that will try to pull you down if they see
Exactly.
you succeeding or they see you doing well and stuff. And
Exactly.
they will do their darndest to make you question what you're doing. And so
Absolutely.
it is what it is.
Absolutely. And that's how we remain focused. That's how we remain focused, man, by having that tunnel vision. Sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with you having tunnel vision and not involving everyone in your goal.
Hmm.
Because most of those people who's actually in that car with you, they're flattening your tires and you don't even know it. So sometimes it's best to ride alone when you chasing that dream, going toward that goal, and getting somewhere. Sometimes it's best to ride alone.
Yeah. And Martine says we all need to do what we can without blowing money and or wasting time. Stop repeating the same tired resolutions year after year. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you can work out without spending a dime. You just have to open your door and go outside. You can
Absolutely.
turn on your TV. There's lots of things. You can stand at the kitchen counter and do squats or do bicep curls with cans of soup. Lots of stuff that can be done. And
Absolutely.
the hard part is the discipline. I like having an accountability partner for the first few weeks. Yeah. If you
That's
need
true.
help, yeah, find
Yeah.
yourself an accountability partner. And
Someone
Martine,
who's going to tell you the truth.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
they
of
were
us
talking.
run. A lot of us run from that. To be honest with you, a ton of folks run from that and accountability. But I want people around me who's going to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
I don't
And
need no one around me coloring it up for me.
yeah, Shan says I don't make resolutions. I have one word that I choose for what I want for my life, and everything else I do from there is in support of me. Oh, 1 second. My little blob thing's in the way. Is making sure that word is in my life for that year. Yeah. If
Yeah.
the word works for you that year, go for it. Everybody, whatever works for you to get you motivated to do what you need to do to get to where you want to be, do it.
Absolutely.
If you need a vision board, do a vision board. If you need signs around your room with positive affirmation and motivational posters, do that. There's no
Exactly.
one right way to do it.
That's right.
The right way is
That's
the way
right.
that works for you.
the one goal should be motivating yourself to get to that point.
Right.
To get to that point. This is good stuff, man. Real good stuff.
Yeah. I hate January 1st because there's so much pressure on everybody. Like new year, new you. There's so much pressure for no reason whatsoever. Absolutely no reason for it. And like this is the holidays is the biggest time when we have the highest rate of suicide attempts and suicide and successful suicides because of all the pressure. The family gatherings, everybody sharing how the year was.
Let me ask you a question. So the whole pressure and all that stuff, what does insecurity sit in that when you feel like you have to and the pressure is building? What is insecurity set in that?
So there's a lot of insecurity in not being as good as everybody else. So if you feel that way to begin with, that pressure of January 1st is you're already not feeling good enough, and then everybody's like, well, I need to be better. Well, geez, what? So you'll see somebody who weighs like maybe 140 pounds. They're like, I need to lose 20 pounds. And they're like, well, geez, I need to lose 60. What do they think of me if they think they're fat? And so there's so much negative self-talk that happens to people because they're looking at the goals other people are making and making comparisons to themselves. Exactly. And I always tell people that the only person you can compare yourself is the person in the mirror.
That's right. That's right.
Because anything else, you're not going to see the full picture. You'll see relationships on Facebook and, they're talking about how wonderful they are and blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, she might be going off to see her side boo, or he might be traveling with his mistress while talking about how happy it is with his wife.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. You see a picture of a reality that doesn't exist most of the time.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. It was so funny, man. We use that measuring stick. We see folks and we don't know what. That's just like with me, right? I use myself as an example. They don't know. You guys never know what it took when you see me in a yoga stance or when you see me doing whatever. You don't know what it took for me to get to that stance. Mm-hmm. I don't show that part. You know what I'm saying? I don't show that part, what it took to get to that stance, what it took to get, whatever yoga pose I'm in. I don't show that part, what it took to get there. So I'll let you know the bells and whistles and all that good stuff. That measuring stick, that's not a good thing. Yeah. Measure up to yourself.
Yeah.
Measure up to yourself, because most people working with filters anyway. So let's be honest.
Oh yeah, that is true. Shan said she loves Vision Bournes / as the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You can use the man's whole government name. Put in the work to achieve greatness, which taught Kobe Bean Bryant to the path to unlocking his greatness. And there's a difference between being great, being gifted, and being talented. Yep.
That's true.
And Martin says, doing meaningful things to yourself can help, like a different hairstyle or a few wardrobe upgrades, changing your house around, etc. Just changing the vibration, you can make your skin shine.
Absolutely. That's a form of self-talk. That's another form of self-talk and self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doing something positive.
Yeah, self-care is very important. I think people don't do enough self-care because they look at it as being selfish. Like taking an hour for yourself and just doing what you need to do to feel better within that hour. Mm-hmm. And I know mothers, we do it all the time. We will buy our kids stuff long before we bought our stuff. Like Xavier needed new shirts. So I bought him a whole bunch of new shirts and new socks and all kinds of stuff because he's growing like a weed. And I was like, I think I should get some sweaters for myself. And I actually felt guilty buying myself clothes because I usually only, So I was like, Dee, you know better than that. So, I went and bought myself some new sweaters and all that good stuff. But if you don't have that, like the training behind you that I do, a lot of people will go, no, I'm not going to buy them and just keep on about their day.
Right.
When they should take that time to, like, if I know the economy right now is tough. So if you can't buy a new sweater, buy a new lipstick or a new lip gloss or something.
Right.
Just boost your spirits a little.
That's right.
Or go thrifting because there's some great thrift stores out there as well. But whatever works for you. If you need a new candle, you know what I mean? Figure out what makes you feel good and then take the time and do that.
Right. And, the reason why I wanted to do the resolution show, because, again, I truly believe that when folks outwardly speak on what they're going to do, what they're going to change, they're really not going to change it. Insecurities are attached to that.
Right.
Insecurities are attached to that. I don't care what anyone says. My personal belief that there are insecurities attached to you having the need to tell folks what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's an insecurity trait to that. That's something inside you is burning, saying you need to tell folks what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's a ton of things you could do without speaking it and verbalizing it and all that stuff. Like I said, everybody's, we're made up differently. Everyone's different, but the first thought when you actually progressing and going towards your goal should not be to announce it. There should not be an announcement going towards your goals. Mm-hmm. Put your head down and get to work.
Yeah. And I tell people that if you don't announce it, there's no judgment if you fail.
Exactly.
Except for with yourself. And you know that with yourself, you can actually try again. Whereas other people will take that failure and don't add the you can try again to it. So
that's right.
Like if you start a resolution and you were going to go to the gym and you've already slacked off, you can still go back to the gym.
Yeah, and gym's going to be there. It's not like they're going to move to location. It's still there.
Yeah.
It's still there.
You cheated on your diet today. Start over tomorrow. Every
That's
day's
right.
a new day. And I tell people, I tell Xavier, if he's had a bad day, like you wake up tomorrow, you have a fresh day with a fresh piece of paper, and we can write a whole new day.
And speaking of diets, I was talking to a friend of mine. She's working on a diet, right? And we got to talk, and I was talking about, my diet, and my diet is very strict. But like I told her, I was like, yo, I have fun days. She was like, fun days? Yeah, I have fun days. I get Brandy to give me some Zuzus, and all that day I'll just pick out all my Zuzus. Zuzus, for anybody who don't know, Zuzus for me, Brandy and I call it candy. That's what we call candy, Zuzus. So I have a fun day. Then I just go extra hard the next day at the gym and go at it. But, there's nothing wrong with, falling off the wagon every now and again, as long as you know how to get back on the wagon.
Right.
So nobody's perfect. I fall off that wagon every month, to be honest with you. I want those Zuzus. I have to have those Zuzus here. Because I know I'm going to fall off the wagon. I know it. But I know how to get back on the wagon.
Yep. And every day's a new day. So if you fall off, go dust yourself off. Go, oh, well, I enjoyed those candy and start over.
Exactly. And to be honest with you folks, I do not feel bad when I have her to go and get this stuff for me. I don't feel bad at all. I want the oatmeal pies. I have to have those ropes. Ropes I gotta have it. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad at all. I know I'm gonna fall off the wagon. It's like crack to me. I gotta have it.
I love black licorice. Not the stuff that you guys have here, that the hard black licorice.
Right.
The actual black licorice that's like soft.
You know what? I remember that.
Yeah. So Australian black licorice is really soft. It's good. But people are like, oh, you like black licorice? I'm like, the real stuff is really good. This crap that Twizzlers put out, that's not. I don't even know what that is. But
gotcha. Hey, let me real quick. We got the Conversation fan page. It's going. I want to thank those guys. They're sending me personal messages here. Let me shout them out real quick. They're actually checking us out here. I don't want to get the name wrong. Let me get them right. 1 second. Where should I? Shout out to Stay Rich, the Go Getter. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, brother. He's out of Haiti. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Good stuff. We're going international here, man. It's good stuff.
Bonjour. It's beautiful in Haiti. People are amazing. The food is great.
I want to make sure I got that name right. Stay Rich, the Go Getter. Good stuff, man. Appreciate that.
See,
good stuff.
Yeah, and Martine says even if you don't go to a gym, you can begin to decide to eat differently. No more junk foods for a few months. Bread, specialty drinks. She said that's a lot of candy. Sham said that Mr. Epic snack list. And Martine said licorice smells good, yet I've never tried it. Yeah, you have to try the real stuff, not this fake Twizzler stuff. That's not licorice. I like that. I'm a licorice snob. I will admit to it.
So it's 10 before, by 9 before the hour. I want to get into what Coach Dee and I were talking about, what we're discussing with my niece. We're going to be doing a topic that Dee brought to my attention. And it's going to be very important because her uncle owns a platform that needs to be out there. It needs to be talked about, talking about the healthcare with Black women. Mm-hmm. I was totally blown away by the plethora of information that Dee researched out for me. It's mind-boggling. It was just mind-blown to where I just felt the need to want to protect these sisters because now it's hit home. I had no idea this was going on. So Dee and I were going to be talking about these pregnancies and these sisters delivering these kids and dying 2-3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. There's an issue with the healthcare system and Black women. Mm-hmm. You know, and I come to find through the research, after Dee sent me the research, I did more research. Black men are not the target. We're not the ones that's reproducing. No. Black women are. Yep. Black women are, and I stand on this 10 toes down, and I'm hell bent on doing these topics, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to make it a thing. We're going to talk about it and open it up and have an open discussion to make sure these sisters are protected, because there's something very wrong and sick with this society to where these sisters are dying and nobody's speaking on it.
The maternal death rates in the United States are atrocious. Some of the worst in the developed world. The Black maternal death rates are even worse. Like, what was it? I was just trying to remember the Texas numbers that I gave you.
119 in 2019 alone. Yeah. 118.
It's like triple what it is for white women. But the worst part is that 95% of them were from hemorrhaging, which could be prevented. So the vast majority of these women are dying, and there's absolutely no need for it. And
you knew what blew my mind after you educated me on this. So I called my other niece, right? She just had a baby about 1.5 years ago. So I said, hey, let me ask you a question. I said, when you go to the doctor and they check your cervix, the cervical area, and they doing the pap smear, all of that stuff, do they offer any type of pain medicine? And she quickly, she's like, no, uncle. Nothing at all. They don't offer it. I said, is it painful? She said, it's very painful. Yeah. And not just her. I talked to several ladies who had the same experience.
Oh yeah.
This stuff needs to be talked about, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. Well, remember,
we need to educate these people, man. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The father of OBGYN did all his surgeries on slaves without anesthesia. And to this day, most things done, like if you're pregnant and you have your membrane swept, which is supposed to induce pregnancy, that's done without anesthesia. That's done without any painkillers. Same as there are doctors who will manually dilate a woman if she's not moving along fast enough. All of these things have IUDs inserted, no pain medication whatsoever. All these things are done, and I'm gonna, because I will go off on a tangent.
I know. We're gonna save that. We're gonna save that for Wednesday.
There's a lot of things going on with the disparities in medical treatment that we're going to talk about, and it's a conversation that needs to be had and needs to be had with a lot of people. So we're going to do what we need to do and use our platform for good.
Exactly. I thank you for educating me on it, because I was totally ignorant and oblivious to what was going on.
Oh yeah.
Until it happened to me, until it came into my backyard, literally.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. And when I had Xavier, I'm anemic, so I have low iron to begin with, and I had a
Right.
C-section. I lost a lot of blood, and they didn't give me any blood. I'm O positive, so the one blood type I know the hospital carries a lot of is O positive because that's a
Right.
universal donor. I didn't get any blood. I got into the recovery room, and I passed out. But I could hear my blood pressure
Wow.
dropping on the machine, and then I woke up like a half hour later, and then I wasn't allowed to sit up for like a day.
Right. Right.
So that and I still didn't get any blood, just so that
Wow.
my body could regenerate. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
the stories I can tell you about people I've talked to.
Exactly. So, folks, we're going to be doing several topics on the healthcare for Black women.
Hmm.
Black women. We'll be educating you guys on that, as well as we'll be talking about healthcare and men and the things we need to do as well. But we're going to focus on these sisters real quick to make sure that they're educated and get this word out and have create awareness around this problem that's going on, because it is a problem. When in 2019, 118 women died, Black women died after giving birth.
That was
That's a
only
problem.
that was 118 out of for every 100,000. So it's a lot more than 118.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, it's it's a loss of life, and what pains me most is that when people talk, well, the abortion laws will save life. I'm like, no, the abortion laws are
Exactly.
going to cause more loss of life because now people can't get treated for ectopic pregnancies. Now they
Exactly.
get treated for ovarian cysts. All these things that it's only going to cause more deaths in more women, and those women are going to look like me. So
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm 51. It's not going to. I'm not having any more children. I could, but I'm not
Exactly.
having any more children. But it's something that I'm still going to fight because I don't want my younger sisters to have to fight this battle when we can
Exactly.
still be. We have platforms that we can use and voices that we can use that we can help to assist and get people heard.
Exactly. And again, as I did when I opened the show up, I'm sending all my love to my brother. That's the number one horseman, Alvin Jr. You already know what it is with us, and we got your back, and we love you. Good stuff, real good stuff. So we're gonna close out on this resolution now. Let's get to a couple comments before we get out of here.
Um, Shan says she loves litter. What's this say? Oh my god, like licorice, but better in my opinion. Get them at Kroger. Martine says I enjoy fine chocolates. I haven't found a chocolate since I've been in Georgia though. Chocolatier. Oh, there's some black chocolatiers in Atlanta. I'll find the name for you and send them because I am a chocolate fanatic myself. Yes, and Martine says women are treated poorly in hospital, especially melanated women.
Yeah,
Indeed. Shan says I really good quality chocolate. And Martine says right, coach, right on the abortion laws. Yeah,
yeah.
it's this is. I'm not going to say it because I will go off and
I know you will.
we only have a couple minutes left. We only have a couple
We'll,
minutes
we'll,
left.
we'll save it for when we turn this.
Yeah,
We're gonna turn the heat up. We're gonna turn the heat up on Wednesday and
well, let's
we'll
finish off.
discuss that.
What goals do you have for this year?
Goals for me is to continue with this recovery. I call it phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's brewing. Now it's boiling over. So I'm actually I have one more goal as far as to walk and whatnot. So I'm still walking with the walking stick. So I graduated from the cane. Now I'm to the walking stick, and I'm just getting stronger and working on my muscles on the left side more, and I'm doing that daily. I'm actually going. My goal is for yoga. I'm going into hot yoga.
Okay.
There's a difference between the regular yoga that I do and the hot yoga. That's at a certain amount of degree of heat,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very intense. And I'm working my way to it now, and I'll let you guys know when I get there. But
Okay.
that's one of my goals, going toward hot yoga. It's very intense, very intense. So I'm almost there. Almost there.
Well, my goal is to get a second line of income that brings in at least 25,000 by the end of the year.
Welcome to the B2G Unity TV.
Oh no. Well, okay, a third.
There you go. Good stuff. Yeah, and that's another one of my goals is I shattered the ceiling with this with the network. We did that, and we're gonna release after the anniversary of the incident, which is on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually going to the Fire Stick now. We're released on the Roku. The Fire TV is going on the 26th on the anniversary of the incident. So on the 26th of January, it'll be on a Fire Stick as well. So we're already on Apple and all that good stuff, but it's huge to be on the two largest platforms, which is the Roku Stick, going over to 200 countries, and the Fire Stick.
Mm-hmm.
So it's huge. It's very huge, and I really appreciate all the support. It's the goal is actually on the 26th to get it moving toward the other side of this other platform. So really appreciate all the love, and we see all the love out there, and the conversation has come back, and it's finally back. And I didn't think I would get it, but we're
only going forward from here, sir.
Absolutely. So we truly appreciate you guys. We love you guys for hanging in there with us and riding with us and taking this ride and onward and upward, and it's all good from here. Good stuff. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Martine says her goal is to get that license. Yes, ma'am. You better be writing that exam soon, I hope. We'll get that license. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I just want to say thank you for everybody who's reached out over the last year, even those who were not happy with something I've said. I love keep it coming, because you know that I answer your emails when you send them. So if you love it, you don't love it, you have ideas, send me an email, dee.layla@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer them. Let's start a new year, and we'll see what amazing conversations we can have.
Absolutely. And on Tuesday, Tammy will be by with your story. She has a good brother. I met this brother out in St. Louis when I was speaking out in St. Louis last year. And Tammy gave me a call when I had a conversation with him. Good brother named Derek Owens. He has a phenomenal story that he's going to share right here on the B2G Unity TV on Tuesday at 7. He's out of St. Louis, Missouri. I met him when I was actually over there speaking. And Tammy's going to have him on her show, and he has a phenomenal story. Great young man, and I'm looking forward to that. That's your story on Tammy's side of the things, as well as on Tammy's Live as well. So on the B2G Unity TV, where she'll be doing your story. So the first story of the new year, we Mr. Derek Owens out of St. Louis, Missouri. That's a phenomenal story. I hope you guys tune in.
Sounds great.
Good stuff. So until Wednesday, Dee and I'll be back here again, chopping it up. We really appreciate you guys for riding with us and doing so we could do what we do. Good stuff. You guys be epic. We'll see you guys on the other side of Wednesday.
Good night.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedie Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.